up. I'm gotta drink a little bit of Coca-Cola, get it fixed. But basically, I'm talking about JD Vance. His group chat got leaked. Leaked supposedly. I think he did it on purpose. Honestly, who the hell gets the group chat leaked? Especially, why the hell is presidential people using damn Signal? I mean, I get it's encrypted, but freak, it's almost like they're using damn iMessage or something. Like, it seems like stupidity a bit, I can't lie. But I think it was on purpose. I think JD Vance's chat was leaked on purpose.
I want to go back to what I addressed at the outset.
I guess, something about what is this? Yeah, this is at the Senate where they grill them for using it or whatever. Let's watch.
It not only violated all procedures, but if this information had gotten out, American lives could have been lost. The Houthis had this information, could reposition their defensive systems. So I want to get a little more information about this. Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not. Are you denying? Ma'am, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat.
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into this? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by National Security
Council. It's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
To be fair, I guess Signal is like one of the most safe encrypted chats that you can use. But I get it's encrypted or whatever. I kind of understood Telegram a bit better because, whatever, it's encrypted and it was by a guy in Russia, Telegram. But unfortunately, forget his name off the top of my head because he has some long Russian name. But unfortunately, he got imprisoned in France and pretty much was forced to, because he was in jail, he was enforced to give up all the user data. So I'm not sure who owns Signal, but how the hell do we know that the user data is really protected and encrypted? What if, the federal government of the USA or of France or of any country request it? How do we know that they're not gonna break and fold and just send all the information? Telegram, we used to know that they weren't gonna break and fold. But now we're pretty sure that they'll break and fold a little bit. If they get a warrant, then yeah, they're gonna let all the criminal information go. But other than that, it's kind of iffy in there. But Signal, I don't know. Who runs Signal? We really need to figure that out. Who the hell runs Signal? Is that in the USA? Is it in China? Is it in Russia, like Telegram's in Russia? I mean, Telegram used to be the thing, but I heard everyone's using Signal now. So that's the #1 encrypted app.
As the White House previously
Is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Dr. Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a Signal messaging group.
So you were the John Radcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you.
Can I provide some
So
context?
why is he
Senator,
snitching on Tulsi?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the outset,
He's
you made
snitching.
a couple of comments about Signal messaging encrypted apps. So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was Signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers.
What the hell? Did the CIA create Signal? Hold on a second. Guys, I really need to figure this out. Who the hell created Signal? It's really making me wonder. People in the damn FBI use Signal? I mean, I get it's encrypted. I think it works with blockchain technology, just like cryptocurrency. Don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% sure though. It's decentralized, I know that, I think. Hey, welcome in, Just Bella. Hit the like and subscribe button. I don't know, 5 minutes ago I started the live. I'm just talking about the Signal thing, you know, going on with the leaked group chat of the United States. What country owns Signal? It's an American nonprofit. Guess how old I am. Take a guess. If you had to guess how old I am. I guess it's an American company, Signal. I'm kind of unsure about Signal still. I gotta do a whole video researching into Signal. Hit the like and subscribe button though,
One
guys.
of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of Signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Dr. Ratcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement, the Signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is,
I've got a series of
and decryption, so
It is,
to finish,
I understand
it is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. So those were procedures that were implemented. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes, complied with
So are
those
you saying
processes, and finally, just please. So my communications, to be clear,
Aren't you
in a
gonna
Signal
guess how
message
old I
group
am?
were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
Well, we will make that determination, because if it's not classified, share the text with the committee. Let me go on. Director Gabbard, you are the security executive and set access guidelines for classified information. Did you contact the defense secretary or others after the specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a SCIF?
There was no classified material that was shared in that
So then,
Signal
if there was no
chat.
classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These
Definitely
are
a
important
Democrat.
jobs. This is our
Definitely a
national
Democrat.
security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to, filibuster your answer. So please answer the question.
Somebody's having a damn fit.
Gabbard, if this was a rank and file intelligence officer who did this kind of careless behavior, what would you do with them?
First off, it's not her
Senator,
fault.
I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that
She
was
just
shared
followed
in
the
that.
If there's no
guidelines.
classified in materials, share. And then if there's no classified materials, then answer that you can't even answer the question.
Of course not. It's not in your jurisdiction. It's below your pay grade, Congressman. This is federal security.
Man, I have serious doubts about your. Anyway.
Because you don't like her to begin with. I can tell you're a super
Tweeted just 12
Democrat.
days ago, I'm quoting you. Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. So if this information is classified, what are you going to do?
Senator, 2 points here. First of all, there's a difference between inadvertent release versus
Careless and sloppy.
malicious leaks of classified information. The second point is there was no classified information that was on
And the
the
information
Signal
committee
group
should get that
chat.
information.
And the National Security
Director
Council.
Patel, my time's about up, and I'm going to use my 12 seconds that the chairman gave. Director Patel, has the FBI launched any investigation of this?
Senator, I was just briefed about it late last night, this morning. I don't have an update.
I would like to get an answer by the end of the day.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Here it is. Interesting you talked about the White House
Let's see what Trump says.
Hit
the like and subscribe
the
button.
White House spin. The White House has very clearly been trying to downplay all of this. And you spoke on the phone with the president earlier today. What did he say directly?
I did. Saying that this is something that opponents in the media want to hang around his neck for lack of something else to talk about. He defended Mike Waltz. He told me he thought he was a good man who had learned a lesson here. And his general argument was that because these strikes in Yemen, which are apparently ongoing, have been so successful, that there was essentially no real cost to having this accidental inclusion of a reporter here. We may hear more from him today, and I know he's been watching these hearings, or at least be briefed on them, so I don't think that's going to be the last word from the president for long.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on...
No, I'm not gonna watch that fake news network.
This just in.
Or look, it's our stream.
The U.S. returned to its bombing of Yemen.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national... Hold on. Hold on. No,
Let me answer.
No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national reporter
You can characterize it how you want.
was made privy
The White
to
House has
sensitive
made
information
clear
about
that there
imminent
was
military operations.
Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
Huge mistake. That wasn't a huge
Well, I
mistake.
think they characterize
This is
it as
an
a mistake.
embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error.
It
And by
wasn't
the
on
way, we will
purpose.
get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Radcliffe, this was a huge...
A huge.
A national... Hold on.
Hey man, hit the like and subscribe button.
Yes or no question, now you'll
If
hold
you're new
on.
here,
A national
what's up, Matt? How you
reporter
doing?
You can characterize it how you want.
How's your Tuesday afternoon / evening going, Mr. Matt? Let's just check out what's on Fox News. This guy's having a damn fit over a Signal group chat.
Incredible people that are going along as go along ahead of, I guess, anybody else thus far. So
Trump's live.
John Thune, who's done a very good job, and the whole Senate. We're being delayed as much as possible by Democrats, but that's standard. It gets to be just standard. But the process is moving along very quickly. So, Sergio, just say hello, and then we'll introduce everybody.
Absolutely. Sergio Buram, Director of Presidential Personnel. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know every one of you every step this way. As the President said, we're at a record pace. We have more nominations.
Hit the like and subscribe button. Trump is live.
Over 70.
Do you love the man? Do you hate the man?
We're proud of that, and we're determined to ensure the world.
Look at that golden blonde hair. Lusciousness.
Charles Kushner. I'm going to France and Monaco, and proud to serve under the greatest president of our country. Very proud to serve.
Thank you, Chair.
Damn right.
James Blair, honored to work here in the White House as Deputy Chief of Staff. And Mr. President, I think that all of these successful people would want to go serve the United States under your leadership as a testament to your vision of leadership.
Thank you, Chair.
I'm David Perdue. I'm going to the People's Republic of China. It's my honor to represent President Trump, the people of America.
David Perdue?
In China.
Are you the same guy that makes the chicken?
I'm going to represent the President in the Dominican Republic. Mr. President, thank you for the honor to serve you in the CAICO.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor. Look forward to working with every one of you on behalf of the President and his leadership.
John, I'm
going to the Republic of Portugal, and I'm very excited to do so and serve on what I consider one of my closest friends and one of the best presidents this country has ever had.
Kevin Cabrera, nominated to the Ambassador panel. It truly is an honor, President, to be part of your administration.
Thank you. Andrea, nominee to the Republic of Turkey. Delighted and honored to be with you, Mr. President, in that host country, which is one of the most ancient civilizations, in search for your peace, prosperity, and security program. Good place.
Mr. President.
Good leader, too.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. It's an honor. I'm Pete Hookster, you know that. But I am going to Canada. I look forward to serving you in Canada and your agenda.
You're doing a great job. Thanks, Pete. Juan Johnson, sir, thank you for the nomination to represent you and the United States to the United Mexican States. And I'm really encouraged by some of the conversations you've had with President Sheinbaum recently and to the increase in support that we've seen out of her government along our border on important issues. So thank you, sir.
Damn right, Mexico better thank us for that security. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
It up a lot, Mexico and Canada, so see how it works, right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Matt Whitaker from Des Moines, Iowa. I'm proud to, as soon as I'm confirmed, will represent you at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Thank you, man.
George Glass, on my way to Japan. Previous administration, I served for you in Portugal. It is a great honor to be able to do this a second time. Thank you
very
for
much.
the opportunity.
Thank you, George.
President Trump, my name is Ken Howery. I'm your nominee to be ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark, a very close partner and ally. I served for you last time, the Kingdom of Sweden. I want to thank you for the faith you've placed in me as your nominee to Denmark.
Thank you very much.
President Trump, thank you for the honor of a lifetime. My name is Stacey Feinberg, and hopefully I'll have the honor of serving in Luxembourg. And I think
Shout out Luxembourg, we love you.
history, and it's all because of you.
Thank you very much.
Nicole McGraw, nominated to serve in Croatia, and it's such an honor to be here with you today.
Shout out Croatia, we love you.
President Trump, thank you very much for your nomination to the Republic of Chile. And let me say,
Shout out Chile.
for everything that you've done for them. But it's
That
a
man
great,
knows more about the border than anybody. Thank you.
President's a great honor. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Brian Burke. If I'm confirmed, I will be representing you at Holy See. Catholics are very proud of your work. Your team is doing an excellent job, so thank you. Very honored to serve.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you again for the honor, the greatest privilege. My name is Summer Sparkus. I will serve this great man at the Republic of Malta. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joe Popolo from Dallas, Texas. Very proud to serve you at the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the very first country to recognize the United States 250 years ago. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I'm confirmed, I will be representing you in the state of Israel. It will be an extraordinary honor, and you've done more for Israel than any president in any time of its history, and we are grateful. And I'm hoping I'll get to be there by Passover.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike is an outstanding guy. They all are. Mike, I think he's going to do wonders for Israel. He actually probably gets along with both sides, and that'll be interesting to see. But the world is watching you, Mike, so good luck. Good luck. You're going to do well. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you for this great honor to serve the Republic of Italy and San Marino.
Italy!
I'm so looking forward to going over there and working with that great ally, and for the pleasure to serve you. Your staff has been great working with us and have done a great job.
Shout out Italy.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for pushing us along.
A really good time.
I'm Warren Stevens from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I have the honor to represent
Shout out Little Rock,
the
Arkansas.
United States,
Little Rock.
and Great Britain, and Northern Ireland, and to be chosen to go to such an important ally of ours is, I know, sir, and I'm looking forward to it, but thank you for the honor.
You're going to do fantastically. These are tremendously successful people, and you two guys, and then you add on Mike. I think they have a little more money than Mike, but he's got some other advantages. He's got some other, like upstairs, he's got some big advantages.
Yeah, he does.
It's very exciting. It's really exciting to have all of you. Would you have any questions, media, for the people that you just saw? So outstanding, and I thought it would be nice to bring them before you. And so if you have any questions, please.
I wanted to ask about the talks in Saudi Arabia. It sounds like you made some progress on the Black Sea ceasefire. Could you update us on that? What happens now?
So we've made a lot of progress on two fronts, on both sections that we call them sections, but they're much more than that, Russia, Ukraine, and also the Middle East, and we'll see what happens. We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and I would say it's going well, but it's a situation we should have never had to even think about, should have never happened. And in the Middle East, that's been going on for a lot of years, centuries and centuries. It just keeps going, and we are making a lot of progress. So that's all I can report. But some very, very big talks are going, and detailed talks are going on right now on both fronts.
Mr. President, you said that your national security advisor learned a lesson after a
Wait a minute, excuse me, I didn't pick you.
Mr. President, the ceasefire agreement that was broken today allows the third-party countries to help implement the agreement. What does that look like, and who's going to be involved?
The ceasefire agreement?
Yes, the maritime ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine.
We're going to get together. It's they agreed to something and it got broken. There's tremendous animosity. There's a lot of hatred, as you can probably tell. And it allows for people to get together, mediate it, arbitrate it, and see if we can get it stopped. And I think it will. That'll get stopped.
What countries are you looking to work with to help implement and monitor that ceasefire?
We have other countries involved, and they're involved very strongly in the process. And that'll be resolved. That's actually, as bad as it is, that's the least of the problems. So we'll get that resolved. And we are being aided by other countries too. Yes, please. Yes.
Tomorrow, the subcommittee on DOGE is going to review funding for NPR and PBS. Now, every Republican president has always promised to take away this money that's going to these two public news outlets. If they're successful, I know Senator Kennedy has backed it, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress has backed it. Would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, a whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty of, look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end. We're well covered. Look at all the people that we have here today. We're well covered, and we don't need it, and it's a waste of money, especially, I don't even know what DOGE's recommendation is. I assume their recommendation is to close them up.
Well, after they hear all the testimony, I think they're going to make a decision relatively sooner than later.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that turns out.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because they have found so much waste, fraud, and abuse, hundreds of billions of dollars, and just waste, fraud, abuse. You heard yesterday some of the new things that were found. 22 billion. You know, if you had 22 million, Warren, it would be nice, but 22 billion put into environmental accounts. One was 2 billion into one account, Stacey Abrams, where they had $100 in the account. And before I came in, they put $2 billion. And you guys are looking, so you mean 2 million or maybe 200,000? No, $2 billion were put in the account. What do you think of that, Mike? Do you think that's a straight deal? 2 billion?
Just write me the check, Mr. President.
It's a horrible thing, and we have so many of those things. So
what the hell did he say?
And the country wants to hear it. I think DOGE is actually very popular because of what's happening. They're hearing about all of these scams and for big, big money, tremendous amount. And when you add it up, just hundreds of billions of dollars being wasted, and much of it's fraud. You know, we talk about waste. And it is waste and abuse, but a lot of it's fraud too.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. I just want to follow up on that. if Planned Parenthood is defunded, would you look into the harvesting of baby organs that they've done throughout the years, and maybe go after some criminal prosecution on that?
Well, I think you're talking about a subject that is a heated subject, and we'll look into it. We're going to look into everything, but that's certainly a subject that's been debated for a long time, and we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President,
Some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the DOJ cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress?
Which package?
A rescission package to codify some of the DOJ cuts into law.
Yeah, well, that would be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of their state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may
Hit the
just
like and
end
subscribe
the entire
button,
thing
guys.
altogether, because it's just a way of protecting criminals, and nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Mr. President, are you going to change any of the practices that your national security officials used after a reporter was inadvertently added to a group chat about attacks on Yemen?
Well, I think it's a question I've been asked now, and I've given a few answers, and they've all been the same. We have an amazing group. Our national security now is stronger than it's ever been. We have had a very, very successful, numerous attacks on that area. These are people that shoot down ships, not only our ships, ships all over the world. They're shooting down right out of the water and damaging them badly, or they're going down. They're also shooting anything that happens to be flying in the area. We hit them very, very hard. There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use, a lot of people in government use, a lot of people in the media use. And I think I'll ask Mike. Mike is here. Do you want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Mr. President, you asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families, and this one in particular I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. Active action with his national security team, took out the head missileer, knocked out missiles, knocked out headquarters, knocked out communication sites. And for once, as we hear, as you all, from every one of our allies, thank God for American leadership again. Thank God for American strength. You're welcome. We had a national security team that was coordinating these efforts. As Director Radcliffe testified today, his first day on the job, he was introduced to this app on his government systems at the CIA and at the State Department and otherwise. So, look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants the world talking about more hoaxes and this kind of nonsense rather than the freedom that you're enabling. And a key part of our sovereignty is in sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists, which is exactly what your team and Pete Hegson, a good friend and fellow veteran, is leading the charge on, and it's an honor.
We had a very, very successful, we had a very, very successful evening, and we've had numerous successful evenings and days in that area. The Houthis are absolutely on the run. The worst of them have been killed. This should have been done a long time ago by Biden, but Biden was an incompetent president. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know where he was going. He had no clue. This guy had no clue. This should have been done a long time ago, as they shoot missiles at ships, randomly shoot missiles at ships, and they make their own missiles. You know, this is not an incompetent group of people. They make their own missiles. They get the missiles also from Iran. It's an offshoot of Iran, another offshoot. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis. You got a lot of stuff going on with Iran. And we sent a letter to Iran. You're going to have to be speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon, because we can't let this happen. But that's an app that a lot of people use. And somebody got on. I mean, happened to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. Does very, very poorly. Nobody gives a damn about it. This gives it a little bit of a shot. And I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories. And they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that. He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job. In addition to him, we had very good people in that meeting, and those people have done a very, very effective job. And you can see it, and it goes on, by the way. It's going to go on. And I think the Houthis wish that it didn't happen, but that's what it's all about. We have to create a safe country, a safe world, and that's what we're doing.
But do you worry that national security was put at risk, Mr. President?
Of senior officials using signal.
Do I plan to ban who?
The use of signal to communicate from senior officials.
Well, I don't know what this, I don't know anything about Signal. I wasn't involved in this, but I just heard about it. And I hear it's used by a lot of groups. It's used by the media a lot. It's used by a lot of the military, and I think successfully. But sometimes somebody can get onto those things. That's one of the prices you pay when you're not sitting in the situation room with no phones on, which is always the best, frankly. But you know, the best is to be there. In fact, oftentimes I've been in fact, just last week I was in the situation room on something very important. And we had a couple of people hooked up by line, and I said, cancel the line. Sorry, fellas, what you do is we'll tell you all about the meeting, because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
Are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and, you know, they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had, and I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, during.
Hit the like and subscribe button.
Classified information, so this was not classified. Now,
For
it's classified
America.
information. It's probably a little bit different, but I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know.
But you are going to conduct an investigation.
Is the Atlantic release all the text messages if that's not classified?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to ask the military about that, because, you know, maybe you wouldn't want that. I don't know. I will say this, that from what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of, he found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early. So I can't speak to it other than that. So he's made up a lot of stories, and you know, I think he's basically bad for the country. But it's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them. But I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table, who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying you're okay with the continued use of signal by administration officials?
No, that's not what I said. I said we'll look into it, but everybody else seems to be using it. It seems to be one used device or app, whatever you want to call it, and we will certainly look. If it was up to me, everybody would be sitting in a room together. The room would have solid lead walls and a lead ceiling and a lead floor. But, you know, life doesn't always let you do that. In the meantime, the attack itself that we were talking about and discussing has been an unbelievable success.
But you will conduct an investigation, is what you're saying into this.
We'll look into it, sure.
Mr. President,
I would look into it, sure. I want to look
Is that
into
the FBI?
anything like that. I would ask them. It's not really an FBI thing. It's really something having to do with security. Security, like, will somebody be able to break in? Are people able to break into conversations? And if that's true, we're going to have to find some other form of device. And I think that's something that we may have to do. Some people like Signal very much. Other people probably don't. But we'll look into it. I think, Michael, I've asked you to immediately study that and find out. If people are able to break into a system, now in this case, it wasn't that this attack was going on and nobody found out anything. And again, the person that was on, as I understand it, he left very early because he didn't find it very exciting. But I think it's something you should look into.
Yes, sir, we are. We have our technical experts looking at it. We have our legal teams looking at it. And of course, we're going to keep everything as secure as possible. No one in your national security team would ever put anyone in danger. And as you've said, and we've repeatedly said, the attack was phenomenal and it's ongoing. But the media wants to talk about everything else except for the hostages you're getting out of the Middle East, Iran on its back foot, sea lanes getting reopened, peace in Europe. As we just saw today with a Black Sea ceasefire, we were just on with Steve Witkoff, myself, our team in Saudi Arabia. They want to talk about all this other stuff except for your amazing successes and the successes of your team.
One of the other things, and sometimes you have to move very quickly, and there are other devices that are very good, but they are very, very cumbersome, and you're not able to use them, and from a practical standpoint. So all we can do is find out the best we have with modern technology. They'll probably get better over the years. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, on the Black Sea, so the Kremlin has said that there were several conditions that would need to be met for this agreement to happen. This includes sanction relief for banks and some companies. Did the U.S. agree to all of those conditions that they laid out?
They will be looking at them, and we're thinking about all of them right now. There are about 5 or 6 conditions. We're looking at all of them.
The White House has said that it's looking into how journalists that signal chat. Is it possible that there could be a firing of even a lower mid-level official once that person is identified?
About what?
About the signal chat that we've been discussing.
We've pretty much looked into it. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's not, it's just something that can happen. It can happen, you can even prepare for it. It can happen. Sometimes people are hooked in and you don't know they're hooked in. They're hooked into your line and they don't even be mad by it. But it's not a perfect technology. There is no perfect technology. The really good ones are very cumbersome, very hard to access. And I think we're going to look at, we always want to use the best technology. This was the best technology for the moment. But again, it wasn't classified, so they probably viewed it as being something that wasn't that important. And it obviously, with the attack being, I mean, I don't know if it's been read out to you yet, but that attack was a tremendous success.
Who said the information
Go ahead,
was
please.
not classified? Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
That's sir, I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
A lot of times you find out defects by exactly things like that, but I don't think something we're looking forward to using again. We may be forced to use it. You may be in a situation where you need speed as opposed to gross safety, and you may be forced to use it, but generally speaking, I think we probably won't be using it very much.
The Secretary of Defense on that training, the Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance, Vice President, said that Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer? Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade, terrible. And as you know, NATO, I got them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars. They were way behind. And if you look even, if you look at Ukraine, so we're in for $350 billion because of Biden. Should it never happen, this war? Should it, all these dead people should not be dead. All these broken cities that are demolished down to the ground, those gorgeous towers, the most beautiful in the world, the most beautiful spires in the world. The spires in Ukraine were said to be the most beautiful of all. Just about every one of them is lying on its side in a million pieces. It's so sad to see what's happened to a heritage. No, I think that, when they say the European Union and you could say NATO also, look, NATO, and I don't blame NATO for this. I don't blame Europe for this. I blame Biden for the fact that he didn't make them equalize. And to this day, I said to him, you got to catch up, you got to equalize. But why are they in for $100 billion and we're in for possibly $350 billion? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you could say more important for them because we have an ocean in between. So, you know, it's one of those things. You'll be seeing Liberation Day. I call it Liberation Day in America. You're going to be seeing it April 2nd. Didn't want to do it on April 1st for the obvious reason, April 2nd. I think I've been very fair. I have them set. But I think I've been very fair to countries that have really abused us economically for many, many decades.
That information was not classified.
Another
Which
question?
of your national
Please,
security
go ahead.
advisors?
Just following up on your comments on the economy, there is reporting that consumer confidence fell for the fourth straight month. What is your message to Americans who are concerned
Well,
about?
I know this, that for the first time in like 50 years, right track, wrong track, we were on the right track. And I think people see that. And if you look at prices, prices are way down. You know, when I first came here, the first time I met with you people officially, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, I've been here for a week and I'm being yelled at about eggs. Egg prices have come down 45–50% in the last week and a half. And our Secretary of Agriculture has done a great job, as you know, Brooke. She's done a fantastic job, and others working with her have done a great job. But we brought eggs down at a level that nobody thought we could get at. I inherited that situation, and I inherited a grocery situation. The groceries went way up, an old-fashioned word, but it's a very descriptive word. Groceries have gone through the roof. And I used to campaign on it. I used to say, we're going to get groceries down, and we have got it down. I watched a certain newscast over the weekend, and a congressman, Democrat congressman, said, well, Trump's done a lot. I agree. He's been great on the border. He's been great on the military, but, you know, he hasn't brought prices down. That's false. Gasoline's way down. Eggs are way down. Groceries are down very substantially, but down. Almost everything's down. Now, I'd like to see interest rates come down a little bit, and you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars coming into our country very soon in the form of tariffs, because we were abused.
Hit the like and subscribe button
in all fairness,
for
they said they had
America.
expertise, but they had no idea what they were doing.
You think tariffs will create more jobs here in America?
Oh, yeah,
So
sure. It's
which
going
states-
to agree.
which
It'll
states-
it'll create a lot of money and more jobs. But if you look, so in the last, these gentlemen would know about it, and ladies, because some of the ladies are great businessmen in this room that are becoming ambassadors. Great, really great, top of the line. When you look at the number of companies that have said, like, we're close to, I would say close to $4 trillion. We never had numbers like that. The #1 chip maker in the world from Taiwan coming in with $200 billion. We have Apple. Look at Apple. $500 billion. $500 billion. They're going to build plants all over the United States. They were all being built in China. You have many, many companies, and maybe above all, you have the car companies coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have Honda is opening up one of the biggest plants in the world in Indiana, and many car companies are coming in. We have AI. We're leading China by a lot in AI, and we're going to keep it that way because we've made it very good for them, and we're going to protect them. Once they're here, we'll protect them through taxes, through incentives, and also through tariffs. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Was there anything we missed in the beginning? Let's go back.
We've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
basically modernization of equipment and methods. And it's something that really, I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury, wanted, Scott. And so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever is next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago.
That signature, no auto pen. No auto pen.
Along similar lines, sir, this is an executive order. We're calling it Protecting America's Bank Account. The basic idea here is that instead of having lots of different departments and agencies and offices issuing payment, often without justification, often without any provided rationale, we're going to be central in payment processes where possible in the Department of the Treasury, and ensuring that measures are taken in Treasury against waste, fraud, and abuse to ensure that money that's leaving the public treasury is as protected as it possibly can be.
All right, great.
Hit the like and subscribe button for Donald J. Trump and for the love of America.
Many of these things should have taken place decades ago or longer.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? This will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other. And it's an honor to sign this one. To sign all of them, but to sign this one is a great honor. Thank you very much. Sorry, sir. So we're going to go around the room a little bit quickly, and we're going to introduce these very outstanding people. They've had, in all cases, outstanding careers. They're very incredible people. They're going along as rapidly as the system.
Hit the like button and subscribe. That was live. Hit the like and subscribe button. Ooh, look at this.
Trump Trump orders are. Tom Homan in a war of words with Boston's mayor after ICE arrested nearly 400 migrants in Massachusetts. This is part of a multi-day operation involving several different agencies. Molly Lyon picks the story up. What happened, Molly, and where are we now on this side of it? Hello.
Good morning, Bill. Well, infuriated by the sanctuary city policies of Boston and many of the communities here in Massachusetts, Tom Homan, remember this promise, he promised to come to Boston. He revealed that he has now done it. That famous promise was to bring hell to this city, and he arrived last Tuesday, kicking off a 5-day operation, including marshals and the Drug Enforcement Agency.
In 5 days, we arrested 370 illegal aliens, the majority of them public safety threats, including murderers, child rapists, armed robbers, and TDA members. So, you know, the men and women of ICE made Boston and Massachusetts safer from the operation they did there last week. And we're going to go back again.
He also relayed his frustrations on X, writing of numerous child rapists. Quote, ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. Homan slammed the Bay State's Democratic leadership, saying Governor Maura Healey and Boston Mayor Michelle Wu should be ashamed of supporting sanctuary policies. Healey promptly pushed back, highlighting her work as a former prosecutor, writing, Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partners with federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for our partnership in arresting 24 members of a violent gang and fentanyl trafficking ring in Lawrence. And we also reached out to the mayor's office. The response from the city came from a spokesperson who questioned ICE actions. The spokesperson writing, we cannot confirm whether every individual was lawfully detained. We strongly urge ICE to release information on all the individuals detained in order to ensure transparency. Bill?
Okay, Molly, more to come on this. Certainly, Molly Lyon, thanks in Boston. Dana's got more.
And Amy Carnevale is a Massachusetts Republican chair, and you've got your work cut out for you up there, and this issue might help. And here's another thing Maura Healey said to Tom Homan, that Massachusetts isn't just doing this public safety work. We are a model for it. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country for a reason, and we are going to stay that way. Do you get the sense that that's how people of Boston or Massachusetts feel?
No.
Thank you, Dana. The fact of the matter is our governor and our mayor of Boston are not cooperating with ICE on detainer requests. And the fact that Massachusetts is far safer today than it was just 1 week ago, President Trump, that our families in Massachusetts are safer. And our progressive governor and our progressive mayor of Boston have refused to cooperate on detainer requests. So for them to talk about the fact that they intend to cooperate is just nonsense and completely false, and Massachusetts residents see that every day on the streets of Boston.
The Boston mayor, Michelle Wu, say this for her, she sticks to her guns. This is what she said on Sunday.
This narrative that cities where more immigrants live are less safe is just simply not true. Our city is the safest major city in the country.
Bullshit. No, it is not.
And also because we collaborate every day with the federal government, we're doing everything we can every day to keep people safe.
And yet you read some of the crimes that these illegal immigrants were accused of, and it doesn't feel like that would be somebody that you want to leave in your city.
Not at all. These criminal illegal aliens were accused of murder, rape, trafficking of drugs. And in fact, there was 44 kilos of methamphetamine, 5 kilos of fentanyl, 1 kilo of cocaine, 3 firearms seized the weekend, along with these raids of the illegal criminal migrants. And again, these are individuals who are posing public safety threats. Nearly 400 individuals were seized over the weekend. Wow. And we are grateful in Massachusetts, families and citizens, that the federal government has stepped in where our progressive governor and progressive mayor have refused to do so.
This was from January, but just to give everybody a sense, just to remind you, Bill Malugin went on a ride-along in January with ICE. Watch here.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're in Haiti now.
Gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Amy, the other thing is that there's a report out of Massachusetts that illegals charged with horrific crimes are being released with stunningly low bail requirements. Is that all just part and parcel of
Fuck
the
that.
response?
Fuck that.
Yeah, in some cases, the bail requirements are set as low as 500 or released on their own recognizance, and these are for incidences of child rape.
Fuck that. Shoot the bitches in the back of the head. They don't need to go to jail.
Who are beholden to the far progressive left.
They don't need to go to jail. Shoot to kill their ass.
The residents of Massachusetts for this federal action because we are seeing these criminals released on the streets and offending again and again without consequence.
Amy, do you see any Democrats or maybe more independent voters coming towards the Republican side that they might change their vote next time around?
Absolutely. So in fact, 64% in Massachusetts are actually unenrolled, and we are seeing more and more unenrolled voters become Republicans.
Let's go back. If you see that again, shoot to kill. They're letting these illegals out for $500 or free after raping a kid. If you see someone do that, shoot to kill their ass. Kill their ass. Dead in the street.
That they might change their vote next time around?
Self-defense is legal, especially in the United States. Kill their ass.
And we are seeing more and more unenrolled voters.
No more illegal rapists and murderers walking around in American streets.
We saw an increase in the vote for President Trump in last November, and so we are seeing residents enroll in the Republican Party and more wanting to run for office in our municipal elections this spring.
All right, Amy, thank you for joining us. You got your work cut out for you up there. We appreciate you coming on.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
Major news coming out of a major city after promising to bring safety. Border czar Tom Homan is already seeing results. Homan announcing that 370 illegal immigrants were recently arrested, with a majority of them being, quote, significant criminals with charges including murder, drug trafficking, and child sex crimes. Homan writing in a lengthy X post, I made a promise at CPAC that I was going to Boston after reading about numerous illegal alien child rapists walking the streets of Boston and Massachusetts. ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because
Get their
Massachusetts and
ass.
Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. They would rather release these animals back into their community rather than honor ICE detainers or notify ICE when they are scheduled to be released. Mayor Rule later testified that I was lying. Thomas Hodgson is the former sheriff of Bristol County, Massachusetts, and he joins me now. Sheriff, good morning to you. What is it like being a sheriff, a former sheriff, in a state that allows this to happen?
Well, good morning, Carly. Thank you for having me. It makes it more difficult, obviously. In my case, I'm a Republican who served 25 and a half years, and I had an immigration detention facility for that entire 25, was housing for them for an entire 25 and a half years. I built a facility that we were the largest in the country with regards to holding detainees at an average of 225 a day. But that didn't mean that I wasn't going to be getting a lot of flack, which I did, from the dominant Democrat legislature, the current governor, and the former governor as well, Deval Patrick, trying to undermine my abilities to keep my community safe and uphold my oath. It's particularly difficult for any sheriff in Massachusetts that wants to do that, although I'll give credit to the Plymouth County Sheriff, who is now housing detainees there and doing a good job with it. He's full speed ahead.
Yeah, well, so some people are trying to find workarounds to this, but to your point, just take a look at the people that the state of Massachusetts, the city of Boston, have allowed back onto the streets. A Guatemalan charged with 3 counts of aggravated child rape, released on $7,500 bail. Another Guatemalan charged with aggravated child rape of a victim aged 9 or younger, released on $7,500 bail. A Honduran charged with assault to rape, mass armed robbery, released on his own recognizance, 0 bail, and the list goes on and on. You know,
What happened to Americans that used to gun these people down in the streets?
Is there something that we're
What happened to
here as
that?
why this is happening? What is your reaction to that list that I just read.
Well, that's exactly what Tom Homan's been talking about, and that's what all of us in law enforcement have understood. But not these politicians like Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, who frankly is more interested in her personal benefits than she is in public service. Look, she was elected like the rest of us and took an oath to uphold the rule of law. And what they're doing is she's creating this cover for criminals to come here, illegal aliens, to come here and know that they're going to have a less likely chance of being identified. And it isn't just about Boston's crime. What about all the neighboring communities? They're going to lay low in Boston because they're going to get the cover they need, but then they go to these neighboring communities and commit more crimes.
Yeah, that's it.
I
That's a great point.
agree.
It just doesn't stay in the city. It also
Good comment. I agree with good
areas as well.
comments.
So, if you remember a couple weeks ago, Mayor Michelle Wu, she was up on Capitol Hill testifying about sanctuary cities. She was asked a very pointed question about illegal immigrant rapists and whether or not her city allows them back out onto the streets, and she denied it. Listen.
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Mayor Wu, yes or no? No. Rapists back out on the streets of Boston.
That is not what's happening in Boston.
And yesterday, Governor Maura Healey put out a statement saying Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state. So how do you respond to that?
Look, Governor Healey has been a long-standing advocate, going back to the days of her being Attorney General. She filed more lawsuits against Donald Trump than the country. She was on the other side of the Attorney General, saying that the United States is wrong for not allowing illegals to come into our country without going through the proper process. And this is a governor who has been a pro-woke, left-wing supporter of illegal immigrants. And you know what? The people of Massachusetts are getting fed up with it. And they're tired of her looking beyond their public safety, the safety of their communities, and saying, my political agenda is more important than you, the people that I swore I would protect. And that's the problem we have in Massachusetts.
Yeah, if your number one job is to protect people as an elected official, letting the people out that I just listed, child rapists on low or no bond.
Hit the like and subscribe button. We ain't letting that shit happen anymore.
This morning with more on the migrant crackdown. Sheriff Hodgson, final words to you real quick.
Just quickly, that also has to do with liberal judges that we have in Massachusetts that sort of jump into this ideology.
Yeah, it's a topic of conversation very much on the minds of many right now, especially in the Trump administration. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Meanwhile, Tom Homan is not slowing down at all. I could not believe this number. He said this, majority of the 370 being significant criminals. He's talking about what happened over. Arrests include 8 foreign fugitives, including 4 who are wanted for murder or to serve on a criminal sentence for murder, along with drug traffickers, child sexual predators, and numerous other violent public safety threats. So this was a collection of illegals, lethal illegals, over in Massachusetts. I was encouraged to see the saying we're not a sanctuary state.
Right.
You know, it's Boston, it's a sanctuary city, but we're not a sanctuary state. They were proud of the way they worked.
So the administration changed up the strategy a little bit when it came down to this bus. Remember that in Boston, the mayor provoked Tom Homan. She's essentially said, you're not welcome in the city. What the administration tried to do to begin with was to have media along on these ride-alongs to show the public what was going on. Well, at least started to happen. So Tom Homan put a complete blackout on this, and he didn't even release this until days later. But this is what they found when they were in Boston right there. You got a Dominican alien charged and arrested with multiple drug distribution crimes and fentanyl trafficking, a Brazilian alien charged with manslaughter, DUI homicide, breaking, entering, and larceny. You got a Honduran agent, child rape and assault. You got a Brazilian alien wanted for murder. You got homicide. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And good on Tom Homan. He captured the people, kept his officers safe, and there was no on this bus.
Well, and he had said ahead of time, I'm going to bring hell to Boston, and he did indeed with this sweep, and it was coordinated, and it was very precise, and they were all armored up just in case, because a bunch of them undoubtedly had guns, were armed. It was the FBI, it was ATF, it was a CUP and the DEA. And they did wind up, of that big number that we told you about, 370, that is to say, 200 had significant criminal convictions. And they did release details about those 14
There are no names associated with these criminals and no word where they are being held. And so those are the two things. And, you know, given the fact that we were talking a little bit ago about the Venezuelans, where are those people being housed? Now people are wondering, okay, they round them up, then where are they?
You know, a note about Mayor Michelle Wu. She gave her State of the City address, and at the very end of it, she said, "God bless our people. God save whoever messes with Boston." Well, the people who are messing with Boston are who Lawrence just scrolled. Tom Homan said he found 9 examples of rapists who were in jail, who were let out before they could be taken by ICE. So who's messing with your city are these individuals. And Mayor Wu, I mean, look, I've got to believe there's some political calculation here, because just a reminder, she has a challenge coming up. It's from Josh Kraft, you know, the son of the famous baseball owner. And maybe she thinks this is what Boston wants. I have a different calculation. I guess Tom Homan can address that at 7:20 a.m. here on the show.
I have a question before we move on. When it comes to due process for the 370 and the 269 that were flight over, they scoop them up, they do their background, ICE takes them down, they scoop them up. What role, they're not citizens. What is due process for an illegal alien accused criminal?
They don't get rights.
However, if you have the Alien Enemies Act, you are allowed to go over that because it's considered a wartime act. And President Trump, the argument is there's an invasion. One of the arguments is Tren de Aragua wants to establish territory.
They don't have citizen rights.
From providing that due process. It's a colorful argument, has only been used 3 times, but maybe it will be used here.
And that is why it's in court right now.
Exactly.
And that's why everybody's looking at it. And we will keep you posted.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
They don't got citizen rights. If they're raping and killing, kill their ass.
Borders are Tom Homan in a war of words with
And
Boston's
Minecraft,
mayor after
GTA,
ICE
of
arrested
course.
400 migrants in Massachusetts. This is part of a multi-day operation involving several different agencies. Molly Lyon picks the story up. What happened, Molly, and where are we now on this side of it? Hello.
Good morning, Bill. Well, infuriated by the sanctuary city policies of Boston and many of the communities here in Massachusetts, Tom Homan, remember this promise, he promised to come to Boston. He revealed that he has now done it. That famous promise was to bring hell to this city, and he arrived last Tuesday, kicking off a 5-day operation, including multiple agencies, the FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and the Drug Enforcement Agency.
In 5 days, we arrested 370 illegal aliens, the majority of them public safety threats, including murderers, child rapists, armed robbers, and TDA members. So, you know, the men and women of ICE made Boston and Massachusetts safer from the operation they did there last week. And we're going to go back again.
He also relayed his frustrations on X, writing of numerous child rapists. Quote, ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. Homan slammed the Bay State's Democratic leadership, saying Governor Maura Healey and Boston Mayor Michelle Wu should be ashamed of supporting sanctuary policies. Healey promptly pushed back, highlighting her work as a former prosecutor, writing, Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partners with federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for our partnership in arresting 24 members of a violent gang and fentanyl trafficking ring in Lawrence. And we also reached out to the mayor's office. The response from the city came from a spokesperson who questioned ICE actions. A spokesperson writing, we cannot confirm whether every individual was lawfully detained. We strongly urge ICE to release information on all the individuals detained in order to ensure transparency. Bill?
Okay, Molly, more to come on this. Certainly, Molly Lyon, thanks in Boston. Dana's got more.
And Amy Cannavale is a Massachusetts Republican chair, and you've got your work cut out for you up there, and this issue might help. And here's another thing Maura Healey said to Tom Homan, that Massachusetts isn't just doing this public safety work.
Oops.
Trump boarded out Tom Homan in a war of words with Boston's mayor after ICE arrested nearly 400 migrants in Massachusetts. This is part of a multi-day operation involving several different agencies. Molly Lyon picks the story up. What happened, Molly, and where are we now on this side of it? Hello.
Good morning, Bill. Well, infuriated by the sanctuary city policies of Boston and many of the communities here in Massachusetts, Tom Homan, remember this promise, he promised to come to Boston. He revealed that he has now done it. That famous promise was to bring hell to this city, and he arrived last Tuesday, kicking off a 5-day operation, including multiple agencies, the FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and the Drug Enforcement Agency.
And in 5 days, we arrested 370 illegal aliens, a majority of them public safety threats, including murderers, child rapists, armed robbers, and TDA members. So, the men and women of ICE made Boston and Massachusetts safer from the operation they did there last week. And we're going to go back again.
He also relayed his frustrations on X, writing of numerous child rapists. Quote, ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and sanctuaries that refused to cooperate with ICE. Homan slammed the Bay State's Democratic leadership, saying Governor Maura Healey and Boston Mayor Michelle Wu should be ashamed of supporting sanctuary policies. Healey promptly pushed back, highlighting her work as a former prosecutor, writing, Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partners with federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for our partnership in arresting 24 members of a violent gang and fentanyl trafficking ring in Lawrence. And we also reached out to the mayor's office. The response from the city came from a spokesperson who questioned ICE actions. A spokesperson writing, we cannot confirm whether every individual was lawfully detained. We strongly urge ICE to release information on all the individuals detained in order to ensure transparency. Bill?
Okay, Molly, more to come on this. Certainly, Molly Live. Thanks in Boston. Dana's got more.
And Amy Cannavale is the Massachusetts Republican chair, and you've got your work cut out for you up there, and this issue might help. And here's another thing Maura Healey said to Tom Homan, that Massachusetts isn't just doing this public safety work. We are a model for it. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country for a reason, and we are going to stay that way. Do you get the sense that that's how people of Boston or Massachusetts feel?
Thank you, Dana. The fact of the matter is our governor and our mayor of Boston are not cooperating with ICE on detainer requests. And the fact that Massachusetts is far safer today than it was just 1 week ago, thanks to President Trump and Tom Homan, means that our families in Massachusetts are safer. And our progressive governor and our progressive mayor of Boston have refused to cooperate on detainer requests. So for them to talk about the fact that they intend to cooperate is just nonsense and completely false, and Massachusetts residents see that every day on the streets.
The Boston mayor, Michelle Wu, say this for her, she sticks to her guns. This is what she said on Sunday.
She's
The
lying.
narrative that cities where more immigrants live are less safe is just simply not true. Our city is the safest major city in the country because
Illegals
we're safe
live.
for everyone, and also because we collaborate every day with the federal government. We're doing everything we can every day to keep people safe.
And yet you read some of the crimes that these illegal immigrants were accused of, and it doesn't feel like that would be somebody that you want to leave in your city.
Not at all. These criminal illegal aliens were accused of murder, rape, trafficking of drugs, and in fact, there was 44 kilos of methamphetamine, 5 kilos of fentanyl, 1 kilo of cocaine, 3 firearms seized over the weekend, along with these raids of the illegal criminal migrants. And again, these are individuals who are posing public safety threats. Nearly 400 individuals were seized over the weekend.
Wow.
And we are grateful in Massachusetts, families and citizens, that the federal government has stepped in where our progressive governor and progressive mayor have refused to do so.
This was from January, but just to give everybody a sense, just to remind you, Bill Mallusion went on a ride-along in January with ICE. Watch here.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro.
Biden forever, bro. Going back to Haiti.
Amy, the other thing is that there's a report out of Massachusetts that illegals charged with horrific crimes are being released with stunningly low bail requirements. Is that all just part and parcel of what Wu wants?
Yeah, in some cases, the bail requirements are set as low as $500 or released on their own recognizance, and these are for incidences of child rape. So these are judicial officials appointed by Democratic administrations who are beholden to the far progressive left. And again, we are so thankful, the residents of Massachusetts, for this federal action because we are seeing these criminals released on the streets and offending again and again without consequence.
Amy, do you see any Democrats or maybe more independent voters coming towards the Republican side that they might change their vote next time around?
Absolutely. So in fact, 64% in Massachusetts are actually unenrolled, and we are seeing more and more unenrolled voters become Republicans. We've seen an uptick in voter registration. We saw an increase in the vote for President Trump in last November. And so we are seeing residents enroll in the Republican Party and more wanting to run for office in our municipal elections this spring.
All right, Amy, thank you for joining us. You got your work cut out for you up there. We appreciate you coming on.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Most compelling
Coming out of
analysis.
a major city after promising to bring safety back to Boston.
Most compelling analysis. Most compelling analysis. Hit the like and subscribe button.
370 illegal immigrants were recently arrested, with a majority of them being
The police commissioner of Boston, you said you doubled down on not helping law enforcement officers of ICE. I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
Promise kept a month after that promise. Border Czar Tom Homan announced a multi 400 illegal immigrants, a majority migrants. This, as a local news investigation revealed that multiple illegals were rounded up by ICE, were charged with, and you just look at it, you got 3 counts of child rape. You got aggravated child rape of a victim under the age of 9. Then you look right here, assault to rape and a mass armed robbery. This person was released on 0 bail. Then you got 2 illegal aliens charged with child rape. They released $500 each. And then finally, 2 illegal aliens charged with cocaine and fentanyl trafficking released on $504,000 when it comes to the bail. Let's bring in the big man himself, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, tell me exactly what's happening on the ground. How are you able to accomplish this?
Well, look, we're keeping President Trump's promise. President Trump has promised we're going to secure the border, which we've done to a large extent. We're still working on it, but we're at 96% decline on the border. And he promised we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, illegal aliens in this country, and that's what we're doing.
So, Tom,
Boston, I said at CPAC they're a sanctuary state, and we're going to come, and despite their sanctuary status, we're going to bring agents there, and we're going to take these worst of the worst off the streets.
So, Tom, just to get into some of the specifics here, so you got these folks that had already been charged with this. What your agents were asking, keep these guys behind bars, and we'll go pick them up. But many of these criminals got charged, and they were released back on the street, right?
You're absolutely right. In one case, I looked at, Lawrence, one case, there's a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without honoring our retainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is let our agents in the jail where you lock somebody up and let us arrest them there when you're done with them rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it.
Tom, now that you have these guys in custody, where are they going?
They're going to be deported. They're in detention now, and we'll deport each and every one of them. We're going to stand by the president's promise to decrease illegal alien crime in this country. We're not going to rest till every illegal alien public safety threat, every illegal alien national security threat is eradicated from this country. That is what we're doing. We're going to get it done.
This is what the governor of Massachusetts had said. Governor Healy said this. Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partner with the federal agencies and federal law enforcement to keep people safe. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country. So, Tom, is it a sanctuary state or not?
Yeah, it is, and we just proved them wrong. The mayor Wu in Boston said I was lying under oath, that I was lying about her city. Well, we went to that city. We went to the surrounding counties around that city, and you look what we did in 5 days. We got a lot of work to do. We're not done. We're going back. And I said, we're going to keep going back until every illegal alien public safety threat's removed, not from Massachusetts, from the country. We're going to make this country safer. President Trump made a promise, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise.
Tom, there's been some pushback about the flights going overseas. Will the flights continue? Will these people go back?
Well, the Alien Enemies Act, we're going to let that play out in court. I'm not an attorney, but DOJ's taking that out in court. But in the meantime, I've said, we're not going to stop arresting Venezuelan TDA members in this country. And if we can't remove them through Title 8, then we're going to detain them until this case is over. But we're going to arrest them. We're going to take them off the streets. We're going to keep our promise. TDA has been verified as terrorist organizations. Them and MS-13. They're designated terrorist organizations. Flights carry terrorists out of this country. We're not going to apologize for it. We think we did the right thing. We followed the Aliens Enemies Act. The president simply invoked the authorities he has in a statute of law, and that's what we did. This administration is following the law. We're using the law to make this country safer, unlike the last administration, who not only ignored the law, Lawrence, they violated the law with misuse of parole. We're making this country safer again, one illegal alien at a time. We're going to keep doing it.
Tom, I know you've been doing this job over 30 years amongst Democrats and Republican presidents. There was a judge that talked about the treatment, and they said something that I think you're going to take great umbrage with. This is what the judge said. Watch.
What I hear was that there were plane loads of people. I mean, it's a class action. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
Is that true, Tom?
No, we follow every procedure within the Aliens Enemy Act. Maybe she needs to read that act. We did the right thing. I'm not aware of every single case, but I've been told by highest levels in ICE that every one of those Venezuelans on that plane was TDA based on hours of investigations, anywhere from criminal investigations to wiretaps to witnesses statement. They put a lot of effort in this, and I've been guaranteed that every one of those Venezuelans are a member of TDA. And again, they're a designated terrorist organization. And I'm sick of these radical judges. Why don't they talk to Lincoln Riley's family? What due process does she have? Talk to the other young women that were raped and murdered in this country by TDA members. Talk to the family of a young lady that was burned alive on a subway. We did the right thing. We're keeping President Trump's promise. We're going to arrest every one of these people. And again, we're not going to arrest every one that's out of this country. This is what President Trump promised American people. We're going to do this every day, 24/7 across this country without apology. We're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Tom, I only got a few seconds left, but before I go, I just want you to make it clear to our audience why you guys don't release all the information that you gather through intelligence. You put the law enforcement as well as the sources at risk when you release that, right?
You're exactly right. We got to protect the confidential sources. We also have to protect our law enforcement methods. We can't tell everybody how we do this because it's law enforcement sensitive information. We need the element of surprise. We need to find the most dangerous people in the world that are walking the streets of the United States. There are a lot of law enforcement sensitive methods we use. We got to protect our sources. We got to protect the confidential informants that have given up statements to us. So this is what we do. We do it well, and we're going to keep doing it, Lawrence.
Yeah, it's an entire criminal enterprise that's paying for these guys to get out. When you start talking, then the criminal knows what you're going to do, and people die as a result of that. You guys are doing a great job. Tom, thanks so much for joining the program. All right, now to this. The Trump administration is invoking the state secrets privilege as it refuses to give a judge more information on the migrant deportation flights to El Salvador.
Griff Jenkins is live in Washington with more.
Good morning, guys. And late yesterday, here's what happened. Attorney General Pam Bondi signed a document formally announcing the administration is invoking the state secrets privilege to prevent the government from having to disclose national security information in open court after declarations from Secretary of State Rubio and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem were made to Bondi, but District Judge James Boasberg wants answers about these flights to El Salvador after rejecting a request to lift a temporary block on those deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. He wrote this: because the named plaintiffs dispute that they are members of Tren de Aragua, they may not be deported until a court has been able to decide the merits of their challenge. Now, at issue is whether Judge Boasberg overstepped his authority when ordering the government to return more than 250 suspected TDA gang members back to the U.S., even as military planes carrying those migrants were already outside U.S. airspace. So now this 3-judge D.C. Appeals Court panel will make that determination, and they appeared split on whether the flights should continue, with Obama-appointed Judge Patricia Millett blasting the use of the wartime authority.
What we're doing here was that there were plane loads of people. I mean, it's a class action. There were plane loads of people. There were no procedures in place to notify people. Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act than has happened here.
But Judge Justin Walker
Bullshit.
seemed more empathetic to the DOJ's arguments in his questioning, while that third judge, appointed by President George H.W. Bush, Karen Henderson, asked no questions. So we really aren't sure, guys, where she'll come down. They can rule any time, and they could rule narrowly or more broadly. We just have to wait and find out. And don't forget, the losing side could also try and fast-track this to the Supreme Court. Guys?
Right.
They certainly will.
Yeah, it's almost a given. Whoever loses.
Yeah.
Although, you know who is it? Griff, is it true that they've already picked the Supreme Court justice that would hear it? And it's Elena Kagan?
We do not know that. There's some speculation. And look, we also don't know, Brian, really whether we could get a one-sentence order today or whether or not we will get in coming days a much broader ruling that will instruct perhaps future judges hearing cases like this in these circumstances. So a lot of unknowns right now.
Yeah, could be broad, could be narrow. Griff, thank you. You know, I must say, Judge Mallet, I don't think we've expressed an appropriate level of rage for what she said. Yes, you are entitled to a hearing unless it's the Alien Enemies Act, where it's special wartime powers that mean the alien does not get a hearing. But Nazis got better treatment, okay?
That was despicable.
Homan said Laken Riley didn't get due process. Rachel Warren, a mother of 4, did not get a modicum of due process when she was slaughtered out for a run. Nor did Nungari, that little girl who went to a convenience store. So when the judge talks about Nazis and TDA, I can tell you the average American hears the young girls and mothers who have lost their lives who didn't get any due process.
Well, right. And to that point, Kaylee, they're still in the country right now. I take you to this operation that Tom Homan just did in Boston. Just look at the wall right here. You got 3 counts of aggravated rape against a child right here, a victim under 9, assault rape, a mass armed robbery, child rape again. By the way, released on bail for $500. Then you got cocaine and fentanyl trafficking across the country. This is just one city in the country that has a mayor that wants to defend them. The governor claims that it's not a sanctuary city. A sanctuary state. But obviously, these people found a sanctuary there.
Right. And one of the things that the administration has done is they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we get the people out of the country as quickly as possible? And we had heard that from Tom Homan from the get-go, even before he assumed the position. And so they're using this Enemies and Aliens Act from the 1700s to try to do it. They knew, from my sources in the administration, they knew it was going to get adjudicated. It was going to go through the courts. They just want finality. They want the American judicial system to say, okay, you can do it this way or you can do it that way. And then they're going to do it that way, whatever it is, in a big way.
So yesterday, though, over the weekend, they just wanted to stress how Donald Trump is threatening to ignore the courts, which he has never done.
That's true.
Every single Sunday show focused on that, except for Shannon's. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, in action big time in Boston. He announced the arrest of 370 in the surrounding areas. He said on X that he traveled to Boston on Tuesday, as promised, kicking off a 5-day operation. It was pointed out by the governor, pleased to work with ICE. We're not a sanctuary state. We have sanctuary cities in our state. Here's Tom Homan.
One case is a child rape. He was released 2 years ago without honor our retainer. It took us 2 years to find this person. So how many children did he attack in the last 2 years? All we're asking for is let our agents in the jail where you lock somebody up. And let us arrest them there when you're done with them, rather than release them back in the public and making a public safety issue out of it. Mayor Wu in Boston said I was lying under oath, that I was lying about her city. Well, we went to that city. We went to the surrounding counties around that city. And you look what we did in 5 days. We got a lot of work to do. We're not done. We're going back. And I said we're going to keep going back until every illegal alien public safety threat's removed, not from Massachusetts, from the country. We're going to make this country safer. President Trump made a promise. We're going to keep President Trump's promise.
You know, and one of the things that ICE and Tom Homan is doing is the fact that when they sweep up 370 criminals, alien criminals, and the people of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts say, why exactly doesn't our state or why doesn't our city cooperate with ICE to get these people off the streets? Why don't they do that? The people, you know, they don't have a good answer.
Yeah, you know, Tom Homan, if you look at the data Bill Maloogian put out, I just did some like rough calculator math of the 33,000 that they've apprehended illegal immigrants, and you look at those who have pending criminal charges or are convicted of crimes, 73.4% of people Tom Homan has wrapped up around the country have pending criminal charges or criminal convictions.
And if you notice,
that is pretty good.
If you notice now, the administration with that bus, you didn't see the names of them. It's because there's so much coordination been going on. You release the names, you get all the information out there, the criminals are on to you. So now the administration, they tried to be transparent, but leaks were happening all over the place, and they're coordinating with the criminals. So now they're holding it, and today wrap up everybody, and then maybe we'll start hearing some names. I just want our community to be safe.
Yeah, I just said President Trump, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by Trump and Attorney General Bondi for their partnership. So Governor Maura Healey trying to go out of her way to say, don't think we're all like Boston, which is interesting because she's a Democrat.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
All right, guys, that's it for today. Much appreciated. Hit the like and subscribe button.